okay. Then we put a semicolon here, and then inside this main function what we are going to do, that we're going to write here signal, okay. And in here we are going to call one type of signal, which is signal SIGINT, okay. So there are other type of signals as well. Then I'm gonna write here sig handler, okay, and then I put a semicolon here. All right, then I come to the next line, and in here I write a while loop or a for loop, which would be infinite, okay. So you write for loop infinite like this, and you write while loop and then brackets, and inside that one, that would be an infinite loop as well. Then I put here curly braces, okay, and inside those curly braces I try to write here print statement. Let's say I write here print f, and then I write here sleeping, okay. And basically I'd put my computer or this printf statement to sleep, this for loops to sleep, excuse me. So now I would put this for loop to sleep for, let's say, 3 seconds, 3 milliseconds or 3 seconds, yes. So I would put this for loop to sleep for 3 seconds. So I put a semicolon here as well. So now this would be sleeping for 3 seconds, and I would now basically create the function. So I have initialized the function here, so this sig handler has to be created as well, okay. So what I would do, I would go here outside the main block, and I would write here void, then I would write here sig handler, okay. So the idea is that when you will be coding, so first of all you have to write this sig handler function, and then you write this whatever you have to write inside the main block, okay. So that is the convention. So I have already coded it, so I just remember it, so that's why I'm coding the function later. But in real, when you will be coding, make sure that you code this function first, and then you write whatever you want to write inside the main function, okay. So then I would write here the argument integer, let's say signum, okay. And then we would basically put the curly braces here as the body of this function, and in here would write a print statement, printf, and double quotes, and inside that we write here we have got the signal, or just got signal, and then %d, okay. I told you that every signal has a specific number, okay. And now I am exiting, okay. So after that you put a /n here to go to the next line, then you put a comma here, then you write here sgnum, and then you write here semicolon, and after that you just save it, okay. So we'll write here -o, which is a flag, and you can see that there is no error. So now would basically try to run our binary file. So now you can see that it says sleeping, and after every 3 seconds it would print it, okay. So 1 2 3 1 2 3, okay. So it would keep on printing it after every 3 seconds, and now would basically send an interrupt signal, okay. So we have handled the signal here inside this function signal handler. So we press Ctrl C, and you can see that it says got signal 2, and now I am exiting, okay. So it didn't exit because I have not put here the exit function. So what I would do, I would write here exit 1, and now I'll put a semicolon here, and I would come out of here. So now what I would do, let me just save this, and after saving it I come back to my terminal, and I try to run my program again. You can see that there is no error. So now I would basically just run the binary file. You can see that it says sleeping, sleeping, and now I would press Control C, and you can see that it has exited it. Okay, caught signal 2, and now I am exiting. Alright, so previously it didn't exit just because of this thing that I didn't put this exit function here. Okay, so the next topic is timers and sleeping. So the idea is that a process can use set I timer or alarm to set a timer. Okay, so the set I timer or alarm is basically a function. So let me write down here, set I timer, all right, or alarm. So we are going to use set I timer in our example. So basically a process uses these two functions to set a timer so that it receives a signal after the passage of a specified amount of real or process time. One use of timers is to set an upper limit on the time for which a system call can be blocked. Alright. So applications that need to suspend execution for a specified interval of real time can use a variety of sleep functions for this purpose. So let's go ahead and let's try to do the example now so that you can understand this concept way better. Okay, so we are going to work with the set I timer. This is the function. Okay, and the example that we're going to do is related to it. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's start. So first of all, we need a time library or time header file. We need out of these all, we just need unistd library. Okay, and we need signal.h, and in addition to that we need one more library which is gonna be time. Okay, so time.h. all right, and we are just going to remove everything. We are going to remove whatever is inside the main block, and we are also going to remove this function, but we do need function. Okay, and this function would, you could name it anything. So let's say we call this function as do anything. Okay, or do something, let's say. So we write here do something. Okay, and we name this thing as well. We basically initialize the function and we write here do something as well. Okay, so now what we are gonna do is that we are going to basically print out a simple thing inside this function, do something. Let's say we print out timer went off. Okay, and I'll explain to you that why we are basically printing that out here. So printf, and we'd write here timer went off, and then we put a slash n here and then semicolon, so we'd basically end the line. So now inside the main function, what we are gonna do, that we're gonna write the code, but before that just right here we are going to define an interval. Okay, so we'd write here define, then we'd write here interval. All right, and then we'd write here 500. Okay, let's call it 500. All right, so basically this is the number of milliseconds to go off. Okay, so this is the number of milliseconds. All right, so 500 milliseconds. So now what we're gonna do is that we are going to go inside the main function, and in order to set the I timer, we are going to create a structure here like this struct, and then we would call it I timer val, let's call it. Okay, and then we'd write here it value. Okay, so after that what we're gonna do, we're gonna put an if condition. Okay, so when we would receive the signal alarm or sig ALRM, we'd call the function this one that we have here, do something. Okay, then we'd set interval timer, and obviously we want that timer to be in milliseconds. So we have a time in so we have the interval in milliseconds, but the idea is that for set I timer we need the time in seconds. All right, so let's see that how we can actually deal with such a value. We basically divide it with 1000, so we'll see in when we'll basically code. So first of all, I'm gonna write here an if condition. I'm gonna write if, and then inside the brackets I'm gonna write here signal. All right, then I'll have brackets, and inside those brackets, first of all, I'll write here sig ALRM. all right, and then I'll write here brackets, and inside those brackets I'm gonna write here void first of all. Okay, and after writing void, I'm going to have double brackets here in which I would have static, and right after static I would have another double brackets in which I would have integer. Okay, and then after these brackets, after coming out of this void, I would basically simply call the function, which is essentially do something. Okay, and after calling the function, I'd come here, I'd put double equal sign, and then I'd write here sig error. Okay, and if that is equal to that, then I want to print an error message and I want to exit. Okay, so what I would do, I would come right here, and this time we have more than two statements, more than one statement. So we would have the body for if. Okay, so now what we're gonna do here, that would write here p error, and inside of that we would write unable to catch the signal, alarm signal, or we can say unable to catch sig, let me write here catch sig ALRM. all right, so I put a semicolon here, and then after that I simply exit 1. Okay, so when I exit, it means that the code is it is not required to run the code after that, because the would end simply here. Okay, so now as I've mentioned that set I timer, it basically needs the time in seconds and u seconds, and we have m seconds. Okay, the milliseconds. So now what I would do, that I would come here and I would define here it dot val dot it underscore val dot it underscore value dot tv slash second. Okay, so now would write here equal sign, and then would go ahead and would write here the interval that we have for milliseconds divided by 1000 in order to convert it in seconds. Okay, and then we have to do the same thing with u second as well. So write here it underscore value dot tv underscore u second. Let's put it equal to interval multiply by 1000, and then would have the percentage sign here 1,000,000, 6 zeros. Okay, then we put a semicolon here, we come to the next line, and in here what we are gonna do, that we're gonna write here it underscore val dot it underscore interval equal sign, and then we're gonna write here it underscore val then we put a semicolon here, and we come to the next line and we write here if